I'm Viktoriia from Deutsche Telekom, and today I'm going to present the topic of API modeling using the standards. And actually, to emphasize that from the beginning, we don't develop the APIs from external usage, only internal ones, because we have numerous portals, and they need to consume those APIs. And well, to begin with really boring stuff, to remind the basics, here's the definition of REST APIs. That's basically the web-based architectural approach for communication using the HTTP protocol, and actually it enables to request and exchange data using standardized HTTP methods like get, post, put, and delete to interact with the resources. Usually they are presented in two forms, so that's JSON or XML, but maybe different ones. And what I wanted to highlight before moving to the next slide, that all REST APIs are designed around key principles, making them invaluable for current development. And here we all, I suppose, had heard about this, but to remind it. And why I went to those basics, I will explain it later on, so you have a little bit spoiler in now. So about TeamForum, has anyone already heard about it? So seems not to be the case, so that will be the first time. Actually, TeamForum is like a global industry association and a collaboration platform with a primary objective to foster digital transformation across telecommunications and digital services sectors. And it includes a variety of different entities ranging from really large enterprises to small and medium-sized companies, as well as startups and the others. And actually, the key aspects of TeamForum mission, because it has a variety of them, one of them lies in developing best practices and frameworks, and actually it plays now a vital role in developing and publishing those standards, best practices, and also some recommendations, models, so variety of everything. You can find it actually through the link I posted here. And the primary goal of all the standards is to facilitate the transformation in telecommunications, but actually those models can be easily adapted for like e-commerce landscapes. And actually, this association includes also some key players on the market. So Deutsche Telekom, just to promote the company, I suppose I guess from Germany have heard about this. Vodafone, or, Orange, and the others companies. They contribute their experience, their expertise in the area to construct and to shape those standards. And moving to the advantages after we get the understanding of what TeamForum stands for. And one of the primary advantages of those standards is the wealth of experience contributed by the specialists from major companies. As I mentioned, Vodafone, they have already gained experience, what they have already implemented on their side. And those specialists have brought their experience, their knowledge to develop those standards. So you can learn from, and actually that brings me to the next point of opportunity. So you can learn from those standards. You can apply what they have already. And actually what is more important, you can avoid some mistakes, because those mistakes have been already covered in the standards and the models. And furthermore, and that's the reference to the REST APIs, all TeamForum APIs, and they have also one of the missions, I would like to point this to that later on, they have also open APIs. That's of TeamForum open APIs, because we have a variety of them. And those TeamForum open APIs, they represent a set of interfaces belonging to different telecommunication domains, and actually they enable the communication and sharing the data between the software applications. Well, because Team Forum is based on the REST APIs, so they promote the concepts to develop so-called decoupled architecture. So it means that applying those recommendations, those standards that might be helpful for you to avoid coupled setup. So some kind of avoiding the monolithic development. And the next point, last but certainly not least, because we widely use in Deutsche Telekom the landscape of APIs implemented using the standards, basically we use the same terminology. We have the same wording, so to say, for everything. And that simplifies the communication when you talk in the same language. So for us, it will be same forum language, actually. And after we have heard about some advantages, let's discover the constraints. Actually, there are not a lot of them promoted by Team Forum, but starting with the access restrictions. They are standing for limiting the access to the resources for any modification operations like put, patch, post, and delete. Only the users and the services owning the admin rights are eligible to perform those types of operations. And the filtration, on the other hand, that's restricted in terms of applying the filtration and pagination as mandatory. So it means that on each particular request should be well formulated, because in this case, you are able to somehow reduce the load on your server and not to retrieve everything what you have available on your site. The next one, the mandatoriness. Mandatoriness implies for having that set of predefined mandatory attributes. And actually that brings me also to the relations, because Team Forum models usually promote to have a strict relation defined between the objects, and that's mandatory to apply at least this minimal to your API specification. And then, of course, based on your requirements, your development needs, you can extend it, but not less than. And the versioning, that has nothing to do actually with the versioning of the API itself, but Team Forum states that you have the modification operation for your resources. And after each modification, you have to version it to increment the version attribute. Actually, that's put usually on the root level of the object. And the next altering is enabled only on the last resource. So what you have already altered, that's not applicable for modifying it, only for fetching it. And actually, the Open API initiative I refer to RADIA, and that represents a standardized set of interfaces developed by the association. And the primary objective is to establish a unified framework for telecommunications, providers and the stakeholders. And actually, Open APIs, they have a set of the domains. They have decoupled the whole landscape too, and they cover the whole range of all aspects belonging to telecommunication processing chain. So you can see all of them on the slide, but as I said, that's applicable to also other e-commerce applications and architecture. Actually, before everyone sleeps in this audience with this theoretical part, let's get to the case study. Actually, here I wanted to bring two practical examples how we implemented these things in our team. So the first one, actually, that's the specification TMX 630. Actually, I hate when someone is talking using all those abbreviations, but sometimes guys are used to applies those shortcuts. And here's the concepts we have developed on our site. On our way, we just met most of the APIs owning the concept of having, so to say, predefined sets of attributes to query by. And actually, when you gain the next consumer, and for our case, that happens sometimes because we develop, so to say, like a standard API, and that means that we have not only one consumer but several of them. Actually, in this case, that might happen that the implementation has to be extended, and that means that you have all the time the dependency. You have to wait until this implementation is done by the API provider. And just not to force our consumers to stick to the predefined sets, we decided to implement so-called generic query. It means that every attribute is available to be queried by. Actually, and that applies not only the root level attributes, but also all kinds of nested ones. Actually, here's the example how to filter by one of the nested objects. And here you need to define simply the whole path to the attribute. And then, well, in case if you have an array, the only restriction, you need to know the exact index of the element you need to filter by. And then here you go, you can query. And well, in our case, because we have a complex structure, that might be when we have to filter by the customer owning a specific passport ID. And all those passport IDs we store as the characteristics, and actually to reach them, that's complicated. And in this case, we can just define the whole path to find the exact characteristic, and here we can filter the by. And in case if we need to find all the objects with the particular IDs, and that's only one of the examples, basically you can address it to any of attributes. You can use multiple values to be put to exact attribute. Here we can query for like getting the objects with ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 5, and so on. And also, greater than, less than operations are supported. We can filter by multiple parameters. The ampersand operator is used in this case. And actually, I haven't seen such use case in our practice, but maybe for someone else it might be helpful. The filtration by the regex pattern is also supported. You need just to put the asterisk before the equity operator, and then to define the exact regex pattern, and here you go. You will get all the data. And why this topic is related somehow to those standards I mentioned before. Well, TMF 630 specification is like some sort of encyclopedia in developing the APIs, because it covers the whole set of all the rules, API usage. So you can find there everything, starting from the get operation, like how to define the parameters, going to the pagination to the patch operation. So it is comprised actually of 7 parts, if I'm not mistaken. So that's like a huge amounts of information, and if you're interested in particular topic, you can just go to the standard and find the relevant information, and that covers not only the API usage in a particular area as telecommunication, but also like that's the API usage in general. And going to the next topic. So here is the the simplification of how our architecture looks like, and why we came up with the implementation of standard API. Because unfortunately, we have a variety of different old-fashioned backends. Some of them, they are more than 30 years old. Some of them communicate with SOAP, some of them with REST. And we have a variety of portals. And for them, that's a real nightmare to get the connection to all those backends, to get all the data together, to map them, and so on. And also, the tricky part here for us, when we came up with this idea to build like an interim layer with API, like a standard API in our terms, I will call it for short PCM, because of product catalog management. And here the complexity lays in sometimes competing requirements pushed by the portals, because most of them, they are used to require from us to have more or less portal specific, and that means that we need to prioritize them on top of the others. And that's a real challenge for us to find the border where we need to stop developing portal specificity in our API, but instead, yes, I will speed up, but instead to stick to the concept of standard API. Actually, we applied, in this case, the TMF specification because we didn't need to reinvent the wheels from scratch, but we needed to map the things and to adapt the existing model. And actually, that is a screenshot from Telecom, the pages, and I suppose German guys know that. And so that's the representation of how our product catalog looks on one of the portal sites. About the naming, because I refer that, I know that not the shortest one, like a bundle product offering, to pronounce it every time, that might be annoying, but still this terminology is used across all the APIs we implemented in the chain, and that's why it's easier for us to understand what they stand for. And that is exactly how simplified model looks like, because I suppose you don't want to see the class diagram covering all the attributes. On the top, we have the catalog. Indeed, we can have a tree of different categories because we need to organize the data, and then the product offering represents the marketing information about the product. The product specification is like the physical meaning of that. And usually we need to sell the things for the price. So here we have the prices. And referring to the initial page and why we use the standards. That's the organization, that's the object relation, how we implemented it on our side. On the top, we have the mobile device catalog, because, well, you can imagine you go to the portal, you click on the devices just to have the initial choice, then you go to the smartphones, and then you would like to get all the Apple iPhones available. So basically, you can just follow the tree presented on the diagram. And indeed, because of the specificity of our company product structure, we built the product offering comprising the set of devices. We actually called it device family, and that covers all the devices of the same manufacturer and the same model. And then we have a set of specific, yes. I see. So we have a set of exact devices with their prices, and they are represented by the product offering and the product offering prices. And finally, to sum up, yes, so why I talked about Team 4 model, because in case if you have a complex flow and you need to decouple it, you can use at least the OpenAPI standards, and they are not applicable only to telecommunication, but usually to the e-commerce set up. And while defining the API structure, you can apply those models as well, because you have already something to rely on. You have the model, and you need to map and to extend it and adapt to your purposes. And that's easier than reinventing everything from scratch. And the last thing I wanted to mention, actually, that's not the perfect solution what Team Forum promotes currently, but at least you have the basics. You can build the things on top of that. And yes, thanks.